In this episode, I'll be going over with you my 1100 plus volumes manga collection. When I was first starting out to collecting manga, I loved watching these types of videos to discover new series. In this collection, you'll find some mainstream, perhaps some hidden gems, a few series you might not have ever heard before, and what many people are calling these days mid. This video is quite long as we're going to go through this collection. I'm going to break down each shelf below to make viewing a little easier for you to see everything in bite-sized chunks if needed. Welcome to the GTP. My name is Scott and my goal is to help you find great experiences for yourself and your family. First off, it does not matter if you have a small collection or a large collection, it is all about the journey. It can be easy wanting to compare when you're looking at someone's manga collection. Depending on who you talk to, in one person's view, this could be a massive collection. In another person's view, the collection's just okay. If you're wondering why I do not own certain series, it could be very well I felt that series was not for me, or it could be that I have not heard about that series. Each week, I am discovering new manga series for the first time. Whether it's a new title or titles from years and years ago, there's literally thousands of different manga series out and available. And if you have any questions about collecting manga or manga collecting in general, do not hesitate to ask questions below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have about my collection or how to get started when it comes to collecting manga. Okay, so for our collection, we're gonna first start off. Let's go ahead and start with the top shelves. Now the first set I have in my collection is the collector's edition of Fruit Basket. Now Fruit Basket's probably one of the most popular Josei series out there. And I was really excited to find a really good deal of the entire series, all 12 volumes, on Mercari. Now this is embarrassingly a series I have not yet read, but because I got such a good deal, I knew I had to pick it up for myself. I hope that I can read the series sometime this year. Now next in my collection, I have one of my most favorite series of all time, Pluto. Pluto is easily in my top 10. It's a phenomenal series. Highly recommend checking out Pluto. This story is almost a murder mystery. It's a society of humans and robots trying to last together and make it. I was really impressed with the dialogue, the behind the scenes. It was a story I could not put down, and it's actually only 8 volumes. So this is one series I have completed, and I absolutely enjoy. Next series I actually own all 3 volumes of Solo Leveling, and the 4th volume just came out. This is one of my most favorite series that's currently ongoing. Solo Leveling, as you can see, one nice thing that's really pretty is that the entire series is actually in color. Now, Solo Leveling is a total of 14 volumes with only the first 4 currently out. This is one of the few series when I get a huge haul. If you want to know what's the first thing I read, it's Solo Leveling. Next, we have Soul Eater, the Perfect Edition. And I have volumes 1 through 5. Embarrassingly, this is another series I have not yet started. I almost got the single editions, but after seeing how nice these hardcover variants, I knew this is the one I needed to pick up. So that's Soul Eater. And next, when we go down to this shelf, we have Rama 1/2. The only reason why I have not read this series yet is I'm actually missing 2 volumes for the series. I've heard nothing but good things about the series itself. It has where this main character is a boy. He can turns into a female when he's hit by water. This is a main character when hit by water turns into a panda. It's supposed to be a funny comedy. I don't know as much about it, but I know it's a classic. I'm looking forward to reading that hopefully soon. Now next up here I have is Parasite. And Parasite is an incredible series that I highly recommend. I have not read actually the manga itself, but I did watch the anime. When I watched the anime on Netflix, it was a series I just could not stop watching. I blew through past the entire series within just a few days. This is a story about these parasites, aliens that come onto the planet, and they end up taking the hosts of humans and are slowly trying to conquer the world or society in its own way. This story is about a parasite that, instead of being able to fully capture the human host, ends up getting stuck in the human's hand, and they try to learn to survive together as part human, part host. Great series. Highly recommend. And I heard the manga is very similar to the anime, but I have not read the actual manga itself since I watched the anime last year, but it's a series I highly recommend. And it's one that I need to read the manga for. So here's another series, unfortunately, I have not chosen to read so far that I need to, where I have no excuses because I have the series complete. Going on next to the next pair of shelves here. First, I have Vagabond, the Viz Big Editions, volumes 1 through 12, which is complete. Man, I absolutely love this gorgeous spines. I wish more manga created spines like these. I love how it paints a story and a picture itself just through across here. Now, unfortunately, this is a series I have not yet started reading. I actually have no excuse why I haven't done it. Besides, I was telling myself I was waiting for the single volume 37, then I'd start reading it. But that's no excuse. This is in the top 10 for a lot of people. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. So it's a series I definitely need to read sometime this year. Next, we have Saki Journey West. This is a series that I got on the Right Stuff Christmas sale. I love it, this Resurrection edition, how these are hardcovers. This is another series I have not yet started reading. I really don't have an excuse why I haven't started reading it, besides I just got some different series because of the sale. It's one I definitely need to start picking up. It's only 4 volumes, that's not too bad. So here's Journey West, Vagabond. Next, I have Promised Neverland volumes 1 through 20. Now, the reason why I picked up this series was I absolutely loved season 1 of the anime, but I absolutely disliked season 2 of the anime, and I was actually shocked and kind of appalled how they ended the series on the second season. Now, the anime did a phenomenal job going through up to volume 5 of the series, but then for some reason, the direction they chose to take was to knock out volume 6 all the way through 20 in the second season within only 12 episodes. So I actually picked up this entire series is on a Right Stuff summer sale last year. I just got the last couple volumes I got the last couple volumes in January. I have no excuse or reason why I have not started the series. It's one I definitely need to read soon. And then next I have here is Demon Slayer. Now, Demon Slayer, I do have all 23 volumes of the series. This is actually a series I have completely read. So luckily, I'm happy to say this one I read. I started grabbing the series after seeing the first season of the anime, which was absolutely phenomenal. Now, the anime went through all the way part to volume 8, and then 8 is mostly the movie that came out. And then the last arc, I believe, went through here. I actually really like the series. I know there's arguments that it's called mid. It's okay. I thoroughly enjoyed reading all 23 volumes. It's actually a series I would recommend to others. I had a good time, and I felt the story was pretty complete and wholesome when I finished it. So there's Demon Slayer. So of this shelf here, the only one I sadly have actually only read is the entire series of Demon Slayer itself. Okay, on to these shelves here. I have most of JoJo Bizarre Adventures, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and the first 3 volumes of Part 5. Now, JoJo Bizarre Adventure was a series I was really excited and I wanted to get into, but man, these hardcovers can be really expensive. So Right Stuff Anime, their Christmas sale, their last winter sale, they had a phenomenal deal and I was able to pick up the whole series. Unfortunately, I'm missing several volumes, and that's the only reason why I have not started the series yet. Especially I feel like it'd be best to read them in order from part 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Because I'm missing the second volume here, the first volume here, and even the 5th volume here, that's the only reason why I have not started or read this series. Now going down here on the shelf, I actually have every volume complete of Vinland Saga. This is a series I have read and thoroughly enjoyed. It's a phenomenal series. This is a series I do recommend for others to read. This series is about Vikings. There's a lot of twists. There's several times when I read the series that my jaw actually dropped. And I just could not put the story down. And then the story takes a dramatic turn in events where you think one thing's going to happen, then another. Great series. And actually, this might be a small excuse, but another reason why I did not read Vagabond right away is I heard it could be fairly similar in just context, sort of like Vinland Saga. So one reason why I did not read Vagabond is I read Vinland Saga last year, and I felt they might be too similar as you're dealing with historical settings. Next, you saw this from my last manga haul video, is I'm starting to try to attempt and collect the Rurouni Kenshin Viz editions. Haven't read this series. I did watch the anime when I was younger. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed before that the OVAs of Samurai X. So I'd like to try to get these 3-in-1 editions. I really like the bigger pages they came out with for this edition. So I'm hoping I'm going to slowly start collecting it. One of my rules is not to try to get series that are currently out of print. And as soon as I saw these 3 volumes available, I decided to break that rule foolishly. So we'll see what happens. Okay, on to the next set of shelves here. First off, I have Black Clover volumes 1 through 28. And this is actually a series I have read and I am fully caught up to this point. A lot of people say this is kind of like a Naruto clone at first, but then it definitely picks up. Now, I thought the story was okay. Volume 8 is where the story really picks up. And it was at that moment I got completely sucked in and I really loved the series. So if you can make it to volume 8, I highly recommend the series. It's just so good. So I'm actually caught up on this, and it's a series I have read. Now, a next series I thoroughly enjoy is I have Komi Can't Communicate volumes 1 through 18. This is a series I absolutely love. It's very wholesome. I'm actually working on a review video for this right now. This is the latest series I've fully completed reading just within the last few weeks. What's nice about Komi Can't Communicate is this is a series when you are exhausted, when you're tired, maybe a long day at work, maybe it's raining. This is just the perfect series to read. It's a good series when you just want to turn off your brain, but you're not having to think too hard. So I highly recommend checking out Komi Can't Communicate. So surprisingly, this shelf, I have actually read everything that's on here. Now going on to this shelf here, I have volumes 1 through 23 of One Punch Man. Hold this up for you here. Now, One Punch Man is about this main character who is extremely strong to the point that he can kill anything with just one punch. This series is absolutely hilarious. There's many laugh out loud moments. And it doesn't take itself too seriously. And surprisingly, I've actually read all the volumes here. I will say this last arc here feels like it's going just a little too long. It's dragging, and I'm actually ready for it to move on the series. And it's actually been a while since we've had a volume, so hopefully 24 will come out soon. It feels like it's been sometime last year we got 23, so I'm looking forward to when they continue the series. And I do appreciate they started, as you can see here, they started connecting the spines. And my guess is that there will be another spine that will connect to this one here. One Punch Man, hilarious, silly, some laugh out loud moments, doesn't take itself too seriously. Now this next series I have not read yet because missing volumes. This is Banana Fish. This is another Josei. I've heard nothing but good and positive things about this series. The only reason why I have not read this series yet is because of those missing volumes. Now, I actually ordered the entire series in March 2021, and I'm still missing 5 volumes. So my hope is that they get reprinted this year. This is actually one of the top series on my list that I'd like to read immediately. Next up here is Astra Lost in Space. If you click the eye on the top right hand corner, you can see my review and my thoughts on the series. Nice thing, it's only 5 volumes. And I mean, if I did a review, hopefully that means I've read the entire series. So that's Astra Lost in Space. Okay, moving on to these shelves over here. I have Land of the Lustrous 1 through 11. Now, what can I say about Land of the Lustrous? Now, I feel like every manga channel has that one series that they just talk about over and over again, and that's their manga that they highlight, they push more than anything else. If I had to pick one manga to really push and highlight for my channel, Geeks That Parent, I'd highly recommend Land of the Lustrous. This series truly is a hidden gem. It's not talked about enough, and I'm surprised not to see it in enough collections, not to see people talk about it enough. Please check this out. This series deals, it takes place in the future, and people don't necessarily exist anymore in the world, but there are these gems that have elements of the earth have come to life. The series has a lot of mystery. The series has a bunch of times where it turns the narrative, where it's not what you think. And there's time moves on a lot slower in this series. You could have a problem that may take 100 years to get solved. And over that 100-year span, some people might forget a little bit about you or your problems to begin with. It's not fitting. That's embarrassing. Ugh. There we go, much better. So there's Land of the Lustrous. I highly recommend it. There's also these people that are attacking them, and when the attacks are happening, what problems is when the gems, if they lose a limb, if they lose part of their body, that actually has part of their memories. So after a battle, they might have survived, but not all their memories stay. So there's some heartache there. What does it mean to live? What does time mean for your life? And what does it mean to have memories? So this series is actually on hiatus. Now, I did see on Twitter the other day, I retweeted announcement that supposedly the series is back on, and starting late June, a new chapter will come out. So I really hope the series continues. It's one of my favorite series that I've read. Now we have Watakoi here. Love is Hard for Otaku. This series, I have only read the first volume. Can't remember why I didn't choose to continue the series. Now the last volume is actually about to come out, so I figured I'll continue reading the series once the next volume comes out. The series deals with these two people. They start dating, and they are otaku, which they're very geeky nerds. They love manga, they love video games, and it just deals with their life as they're trying to figure out what it means to date. It's a romance. It is funny and has a lot of good pop culture and geeky fan humor. And so I actually do recommend it after just reading the first volume. I need to start reading the other ones. Now, this next series, if you click the eye on the top right hand corner, you can see my review of one of my favorite series of this past year, Blue Period. Man, what can I say? This is a phenomenal series. Has to deal with the world of art. Noguchi here, he actually has a dream of becoming an artist. And what I love about this series is it just has so many good life nuggets. So many key phrases and quotes that you could apply to your own life today. It's the first manga that really made me stop and think about my own life choices and my dreams while reading the series. Now, I will forewarn, it is a bit wordy, and I do know that some series that could scare someone off because of it being wordy. Now, Land of the Lustrous is definitely not wordy, and when it does speak, you want to listen because the words that are said do make an impact. Now, the next series I have here is Witch Hat here. I do not know why I haven't started this series yet, but this is another one of the series that I have not touched yet. I have no excuse why, as I actually have all the volumes for this series. So it's one I definitely need to start reading soon. Up here is Cells at Work, volumes 1 through 6. This is complete. This is a series, I got all the volumes last year on a sale from Right Stuff. It's only 6 volumes. I heard the anime is okay. I haven't even seen the anime yet. And it's sadly another series I have not yet started reading. And since I have the entire series, I have no excuse. Okay, next up is Cells at Work. As you can see, the first volume is actually in shrink, meaning I have not started this series either. Now, this series I actually was more interested in reading instead of Cells at Work. And the last volume was supposed to come out last year in August, and then due to the pandemic, it got pushed to August this year. There's 8 volumes total, so I didn't want to start reading the series knowing I'd have to wait till August this year, which was a year ago last year, for that final volume. So Code Black is supposed to be more of an adult version, an adult narrative, more heavy content situations. You're dealing with a person that has just not taken good care of his body. He's a smoker, alcohol, hasn't been healthy. So you're dealing with these cells as they're trying to survive a damaging system that hasn't been going well. So I'm excited to read that series. It's one, even as I'm talking about, I really want to start reading soon. Okay, next off here is Inuyasha. This is one of the series I was really hoping would be on sale during the Right Stuff winter sale this past year, and it was. Unfortunately, as you can see, I'm still missing a couple of the volumes, so that's the only reason why I haven't started this series yet. I do like this is that Viz Big Edition again. I have no reason not to read this, so as soon as I get these couple missing volumes that come back in stock, this is a series I'll be excited to start reading. Okay, now we have here is Ajin. Click that eye on the right hand corner and you can see my review and my thoughts on this series. This series I just finished reading right before I read this series, and then the last series I read was Komi Can't Communicate. I typically like to read one whole series at a time, and when it's complete or I'm caught up, or meaning I have all the volumes, and then before that, or other than that, I do read. There's several different series I'm currently reading as new volumes come out. But once I got the rest of Ajin about 2 months ago, I was missing, was it volume 12? I was missing volume 12 for a while. So this series, phenomenal. If I had to have one word for the series, it's just ruthless. Has an amazing villain. It's not often I find a series that has a really good villain. Highly recommend checking out Ajin. Okay, so let's talk about these two shelves here. I have Noragami Stray Dog, volumes 1 through 23. I got on Macari really cheap, volumes 1 through 4. I read the first volume. I thought it was pretty entertaining. It has to deal with this stray god. He's kind of forgotten, and he's trying to move back up in the world. I heard it's more of an economy manga. Not exactly sure what that means. I enjoyed this volume, and when I ordered the entire series, there was a couple volumes that were missing. I got the remaining volumes I was missing late last year. I have no reason why I haven't started the series. So even though I've read the first one, we'll count this as a series that I have not read, and I have no excuse. Now, Blood on the Tracks. What can we say about this? So this series, I am caught up. I have read the first 8 volumes. This series, not wordy at all. Has to deal with a boy who has a very overpowered, manipulative mother. I want to recommend the series, but at the same time, personally, I have dealt with, I still deal with post-traumatic trauma due to a manipulative relative I had in my life. So there's some things that really hit home in this series that I almost have to put it down afterwards. I just feel ill. It just reminds me of things that happened in my own personal past. There's a few moments where the mom says things almost verbatim that I heard from somebody in the past that really hit me. Really good series. I'm excited to see where they take it. You could probably read each volume within 20 minutes if you want to. It's a real page turner. Again, it's not very wordy. Phenomenal series, Blood on the Tracks. Looking forward to reading the next volume once it comes out. Okay, now Mob Psycho 100. I did watch the first episode of the anime. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Now this series is made by the same person who wrote One Punch Man. There's 16 volumes total, and Dark Horse is just slowly taking their time releasing the volumes for this series, even though it's been complete in Japan in a long time. Where I think last year we only got Rain, which is the spin-off for it, and then I think we got volume 7. Now 8's supposed to be coming out soon. I have no excuse. I have not read this series other than watching this first episode of the anime. So this is another series I should be reading. Now next is Dia Dark. This is by the same creator as the none other Dorohedoro. I have read 1 through the first 3 volumes of this series. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this series so far. It's about this guy who has like this power of darkness, this dark armor, and it's rumored to said that if you collect his bones, you can have any wish that you want. So it's a sci-fi, almost steampunk space adventure. Really good, really phenomenal series so far. So I've thoroughly enjoyed reading the 3 volumes I do have for this. This series is just slowly coming out. One thing I was bummed out was, as you can see, it is slightly smaller than some of these other volumes. So, I mean, the pages are just absolutely breathtaking. So for a series just so breathtaking, I was just really sad to see that they chose to not have having just a larger print. I mean, that just screams just nuts. Definitely not for kids, but really entertaining. I've just been blown away by the art style so far for Dia Dark. Okay, now going down here we have Dead Destruction. I've not read this series yet. I was missing just volume 1, which I got 2 months ago. Before that I had these remaining volumes. No reason why I have not read that series. Don't know too much about it except for aliens have landed. They've been there for a while. There's mystery. And I recently read that there's going to be an anime adaptation of it. So here's another series I'm looking forward to checking out once I finally do choose to read it. Okay, next off here I have Girls Last Tour volumes 1 through 6. This series is complete. I heard many good things about it, and as soon as I could, I ordered the entire series. And this just came at a time where I had other series at the same time. So we can mark that as another series I have no excuse why I have not read yet. Okay, next we have The Breaker. I have volume 1, and as you can see I have volume 2. This series is really good. I have read these 2 volumes. There's supposed to be 2 more volumes of volume 3 and 4 coming out of The Breaker. This series has to deal with a guy who's really weak and then suddenly meets a person, this martial artist who has this unique power, and then this unique power is given to this guy, and he's now trying to train and become just an awesome superpower himself. This is one of the series, sort of like Solo Leveling. As soon as I get the volume, I just want to read it right away. So I'm looking forward to completing the series as it comes out. Next is Asadora. I have volumes 1 through 4. The 5th volume should be out soon. This series is by Naruka Usara. It's the same person who made one of my favorite series of all time, Pluto. This is his latest series. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet. We can mark this as another series that I have no excuse why I haven't started reading it. But I'm should start that one soon. I hear it's a little bit slower at first, but I definitely need to read it. It bothered me that these aren't going straight. Okay, next is To Your Eternity. I have all the current volumes 1 through 15. Now, To Your Eternity, I have read through volume 12, and man, I mean, these covers are just gorgeous. This is a really good series. I heard the current arc is not as good, but I will say through volume 12, it's a really good series. It's about, now hold on with me, this orb that comes onto the planet, and slowly after a while it evolves where he turns into a rock, and then he meets this boy, and then when something dies, he can become that person. So when the death of a wolf happened and he was able to touch it, he was able to turn into a wolf. And then when this character who took him in and cared for him, when he ended up not making he turned into him. This series has a lot to do with the importance of life, meaning. I was, man, blown away by the story. Thoroughly have I enjoyed To Your Eternity. The only reason why I have not, man, I just love these volumes, are just absolutely gorgeous. The only reason why I have not continued this series for right now is because I felt like I could take a break after the 12th volume. As you see, volume 13, it's a completely new arc. I just felt satisfied with the 12 volumes I've read. So I do need to start reading. Once I get a couple more volumes of the new arc, I'll start reading this. Okay, so next one here, Kaji. Gambling Apocalypse, a series I've heard nothing but good things about, is recommended from another YouTuber, so I figured why not, let's go ahead and check out this series. Now then I discovered that the series is very slowly as Dempa coming out with the volumes. I'm sure it's just been production issues with the pandemic. So I have the first 3 volumes, even though the 4th volume was, 3rd and 4th volume were supposed to come out late last year. It's another series I have no excuse why I have not started reading, so we can chalk that up there. Okay, now these 2 shells. This, I have volumes 1 through 20 of Dr. Stone, and I also have the little spin-off reboot here. Now this series I am currently caught up in reading as the volumes come out. This series, I ended up watching the first season of the anime. I might have even cried a little bit during it. I just thought it was a phenomenal series. I love the mystery. It's about this idea of the world completely, everyone in the world turns to stone, and it's 3,000 years later. So in 3,000 years, our lovely Dr. Stone here ends up waking up and now having to survive in this new world, figure out what happened, why did everyone get petrified and turn to stone, and he slowly finds a way to try to rebuild society. And as you can see, there's more people as he starts waking more people up. A really good series. Highly recommend checking out. Now the other day my daughter pointed out, what about this one, and I realized I haven't read it. So I actually it's only 1 volume. I heard I can read it now. When I got it, I was missing a couple volumes of the series, and I was afraid I would read it and it would spoil some of the earlier volumes, but now because I've read the whole series, I have no reason why I haven't. So we'll count this as another thing I haven't read for no excuse, but we have read Dr. Stone. We're continuing to read the series as it comes out. Now I know series just finished up with a total of 26 volumes from Japan, so this series will be completing soon, which I'm a little sad. I've thoroughly enjoyed the series and the ride. Next is Blue Giant. Now Blue Giant is a musical series. I've heard really good things from another YouTuber about the series, so I decided it was one I had to pick up for myself, and it's only 10 volumes total. I have the first 8 volumes. I have no reason or excuse why I haven't read this yet, except for I would like to tell you the only reason why I haven't read it yet is because I'm waiting for the last 2 volumes and I'll read it in one chunk. So yes, we'll say that, but we can mark this as another series I've not read. I have no excuse. It has to do with music and this person's dream to become a musician professionally. So looking forward to learning. I didn't really take many music classes except for some guitar in high school. So other than that, I don't know a whole lot of musical theory and the importance of music. So I'm hoping to expand my horizons and understand more about music with that series. Okay, next off here, I've made I have volumes. The omnibus is 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. So I haven't read the series yet because I'm missing several volumes. I purchased the entire series last August, and we're just waiting for the volumes to come out so I can read it. Next, I have Nana. I have volumes 1, 2, and 21. Now, there's 21 volumes currently out. This series has been on a hiatus for 10 years, so who knows if it will ever finish, but I've heard nothing but good things about this series, so it's one I really want to read as soon as the volumes come out. And now what's nice is they have been slowly reprinting the series this year, as that's how I got volumes 1, 2, and 21. And I got an in-stock notification that volumes 3, 4, and 5 are now in stock, and I did pre-order them, so as soon as Right Stuff partial ships my order, I'll have those volumes and I can hopefully start reading soon. Next, I have Living Stone. I heard good things about this series, and I saw it was only 4 volumes, so I figured why not check it out. And of course, we don't have volume 3. So only reason why we haven't started the series is waiting for volume 3. Because it's only 4 volumes, as soon as I get volume 3, I'll read the whole series in one go and hopefully let you know what I think. Okay, going down to this shelf here, I have volumes 1 through 23. That's complete of Dorohedoro. Now, if you click the eye, you can see my manga haul from 2 manga hauls ago, where I end up getting the rest of the volumes I was missing of the series. I have no excuse other than that why I haven't started reading this series yet. The reason why I haven't started reading it yet was I was in the middle of Ajin, and then I started Komi Can't Communicate. So now I felt after Ajin I needed a break from a combat, mystery, fighting, craziness series of just mind-blowing adventure. This is the same person that made Dia Dark, and I really have enjoyed those 3 volumes of Dia Dark. I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy Dorohedoro. So I just felt after reading Ajin I needed something a little more wholesome, so that's why I read Komi Can't Communicate. This is going to be one of the next series that I will read. So we'll say there's an excuse for that one. We won't count that as a reason why I haven't read it. So next, Hell's Paradise here. This is another series that's top on my list to start reading, like Dorohedoro. The only reason why I have not read Hell's Paradise is because, as you can see, we're missing volumes. Now, the series is fully complete with 13 volumes, and because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess I could have started reading it, but I'm just waiting until I get the entire series at once, and then I will read Hell's Paradise completely. I'm really hoping to get that soon and to start reading the series. I've heard nothing but good things about this series. Now, next off here, I have Volume 1 of Record of Ragnarok. The only reason why I haven't started this series yet is I have the first volume. This series just came out not that long ago. The second volume just released. So as soon as if I get a couple more volumes, preferably 3 volumes, I'll start reading the series. I just was afraid if I read this first volume, and who knows when I'll get volume 2, that I might forget things. That's the only reason why I haven't started the series yet. Okay, next off here is Happiness. Now, Happiness is written by the same person that made Blood on the Tracks, and this one actually has to deal with vampires. Also by the person that made Flowers of Evil, another phenomenal series by Shuzomi Osama. The only reason why we haven't read Blood on the Tracks is missing Volume 6. So as soon as I get Volume 6, like Dorohedoro, Hell's Paradise, Happiness is another series I'm excited to read and believe I can just breeze through. Now, Happiness actually has some of the most beautiful covers I've seen in any manga series. So this is a series I'm just blown away by the artistic design. I have a feeling it's going to be really good. Vampire series, so we'll see what happens when that series finally comes in. So on this shelf here, we have Jujutsu Kaisen 0 through 15. So Jujutsu Kaisen, now this series is extremely popular, and embarrassingly, I just couldn't get into it. Now, I read volumes 1 through 9 of the series. Maybe I read volumes 1 through 10. Yes, I read volumes 1 through 10, and I just got kind of bored with it. And I figured, it's probably me, not the series. So I ended up going back and I watched the entire anime, and I even watched the movie Zero, just to hope it piqued my interest to read the series. And unfortunately, it didn't. I thought it was okay. It has some interesting premises, but it has to do with this main character here who ends up eating this demon finger that ends up having this demon slowly part of him, and they go and they remove curses. So I heard the last arc is extremely good and one of the best arcs in a manga, just period. So I hear it ends with volume 16. So as soon as volume 16 comes out, I'm planning on reading the series again, and then hope this time I'll get stuck, I'll enjoy it, and maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind when I was reading this series. But this is a series I want to enjoy, I want to love, as I just feel like I'm missing something in my brain as so many people just talk how much they love it, but for some reason I haven't been able to get into it too much. Jujutsu Kaisen. Next, World Trigger. Now the reason why I purchased this series is I heard it has some of the best in battle manga. It's also extremely popular in Japan, and you just don't hear too much about it in America. Now, why haven't I started the series? And this is actually one series that I've been waiting for a long time to start. I purchased the entire series last year in April, and unfortunately volumes 1, 2, and 5 have still not come in. So the only reason why I haven't read this series is because I'm missing a couple of volumes. And what's frustrating is the series is still in print. So volume 23 did not come out that long ago. So volume 22 did not come out long ago. I'm just surprised that you have a series that's ongoing, but you haven't reprinted some of the earlier volumes. So as soon as I get volumes 1, 2, and 5, this is a series I want to start reading right away. Next, I have Blue Exorcist. I have volumes 1 through 8. I have no excuse, no reason why I haven't started this series. A person was selling this on offer up locally really cheap, so I figured why not pick up the series. It looks interesting. I have volumes 1 through 8, but haven't started reading it yet. I pre-ordered the whole series, but seeing how long it's taken for things, who knows when I'll be able to start reading, but I'd like to read it once I get some more volumes. Now, going down to the shelf here, I have 20th Century Boys, and then 21st Century Boys, which is kind of the prologue to the epilogue to the entire series. Now, you can kind of make it out here, but it does create a nice picture. You see there's a little moon here. There's the eye from the friends. Now this series I have read in its entirety, and this is one of my favorite series I've ever read. Lots of mystery, has definitely, each volume ends kind of in this cliffhanger where you immediately want to start the next volume and find out what happens. There's times where you're reading these volumes, you don't know if you're dealing with things from the past, the present, or the future, and they just tie it together really beautiful. So this is from Nakura Asara, the same person who made one of my favorite series of all time, Pluto. This also is one of my favorite series of all time. This guy just, knocks it out of the park each time. Phenomenal series. Starts up with these boys that have this club, and these boys have this, they imagine like the secret society, and it's just all pretend. But then as they grow up, this pretend society that they came up with as a kids is now really happening as adults. And you have this mystery to try to find out who's the person who copied them, or who's the person that found what they decided as a kid and then now made into real life. And then so you follow them, and not only as the kids are growing up, but you follow them you'll see flashbacks from the past, you'll see things going on in current modern times, and then you'll see things that happen later on. So phenomenal series. Highly recommend checking out 20th Century Boys. This is definitely in my top 5 of all time. Oh, and we almost forgot here, Planets. Now, Planets, the reason why I picked this up, it's 2 volumes here, but Planets is made by the same author as Vinland Saga, and I really liked Vinland Saga, so I figured I should probably pick up Planets. I have not read the series. It's short. I have no excuse why I haven't read it, so we can mark this another one series I own that I've not read, and I have no excuse, embarrassingly. But because it's by the same author of Vinland Saga, I have a feeling I'm thoroughly going to enjoy it. Okay, next off here, I have Beastars volumes 1 through 17. I believe there's 22 volumes fully in the series. It is finished in Japan. It's another series we can chalk up as no excuse why I haven't started reading yet. I've heard nothing but good things. I've seen people put this in their top 10 list of all time. I need to start reading this series. I mean, by the time I read it, there'll only be a few more volumes. But since I think there's 18 volumes out now, since I haven't started the series yet, I'm really feeling as soon as the 22 volumes come out, I'll probably just read it in one setting, and they'll tell you more about what I think about the series after that. Okay, next up here, I have Golden Kamuy. I have volumes 1 through 25. Now, they say a jack of all trades is a master not, but in this case, I would say that when it comes to this series, they are the master. This has action, it has fighting, it has adventure, it has mystery, even has cooking. Now, the only reason why I had not started, so this is another series we can chalk up as no excuse why I haven't started reading it yet, but I was waiting for the dreaded volume 2. Now, why I say dreaded is that the whole series was on sale at Right Stuff last year for the summer, but it wasn't until this February that volume 2 came back in stock. So the only reason why I hadn't started the series yet was waiting for volume 2. Volume 2 came in this February, and other than that, I haven't had a chance to be able to start it yet with some of my other series. So that's Golden Kamuy, volumes 1 through 25. Next year on the shelf, we have Goodnight Punpun. Now, this series I have completely read, and I have, as you can see here, I like that it makes a little bird here. Now, this series is in a lot of people's top 5, even some people's number 1. Unfortunately, it was not a series that I just was completely sold on. I think maybe my intelligence level just isn't that smart enough for the series, but I will say the artwork, man, the artwork alone for this series, this has some of the most beautiful art I've ever seen in a manga. This is a series, after I would just turn a page, I would just sit and wonder in the detail of everything that they had in on it. Now, they do say this, now the series is, not they do say, the series is very sad. I've heard a lot of people need a couple days break just from manga after reading this. Some people got really sad. They say don't read this if you're depressed. Now, I just don't think I was necessarily maybe not intelligent enough for the series. I never shed a tear while reading the series. If I had to sum up what the series is about without spoilers, it shows that it's important that you just need to have a few people that believe in you. So if I had to say if there was a moral of the story, if you have just a few people believe in you, you're going to do well in life. All we need sometimes, no matter how things are, how hard our life is, how difficult, we just need a few people to believe in us. But this series, I would say it's good, but for me it wasn't great as other people chalk it up to be. But I know that's just me, as many people have this as their most favorite series of all time. And the next series is by the same author as Goodnight Punpun, and this is the one volume of Seinen. It's complete. Now, there is an epilogue that's very hard to find that was given at a con, so I haven't read that. Don't know if I'll ever own it, but I have read Seinen, and this might sound terrible, but I actually kind of like this better than Punpun in some ways. The drawing in Punpun is way, way better. But this series is about just growing up deals with this, just the awkwardness of being out of college and just trying to figure out, now what do I do with my life? Well, we've all been there, especially if you've been out of college, where there's this awkward phase of, getting a job. Is this the job for me? Am I still living my dream? So I thought the author did a really good job with this standalone volume. Did a really good job with this story. I felt complete afterwards, and I thought it was pretty good. So I know not as many people enjoyed this one, but I actually really enjoyed Seinen. Next we have here is Spy X Family. Now, Spy X Family is about this guy named Lloyd, who is a spy who has a job to infiltrate the school. Now, the problem is, to infiltrate the school, he needs to have a daughter and kind of a fake wife to be able to get in. So for this journey, for this new secret mission, he ends up adopting a girl for the school. What he doesn't know is that the girl's actually a telepath and she can actually read thoughts. And then when he finds a wife for the journey, what he doesn't know is that the wife is an assassin. She doesn't know he's a spy. He doesn't know that she's an assassin. And they all don't know that this lovely girl here can read their minds. It's very, very funny, very, very wholesome and silly. I have not watched the anime, but I've heard the first couple episodes are pretty good. Highly recommend checking out Spy X Family. Next series we have here is Bongo Stray Dogs. Only reason why I have not started or read this series is because I am missing volumes. I purchased the entire series late last year, I believe in September, and as you can see, Yen Press is slowly reprinting the series. So as soon as I have the missing volumes, it's a series I do want to pick up. I also have the other series for it. We have Bongo Stray Dogs. I have Beast 1, and I have Bongo Stray Dogs Beast 2. Only reason why I haven't started this series is because I feel like it'd be important to read this series first. So as soon as I got a couple more volumes of Bongo Stray Dogs, I'm not missing too many. This is another series I'm looking forward to picking up and starting to read. Okay, next up is I Am a Hero. Now if you click the eye on the top right hand corner, you can see my first review video that I made was of this series I finished reading. This is a zombie apocalypse. A few people that I know, actually no, a lot of people recommended the series, but I heard many people did not like the ending. So I will say, as a story I have read, it is a satisfying ending for a zombie apocalypse. This series is definitely not for children. Also, I apologize, I forgot to point out, but Goodnight Pun Pun is another series that is definitely not for children. There's a few pages of Goodnight Pun Pun that I felt I had to turn super fast. I felt very awkward and uneasy. And it's a series that if any of my kids asked to read, I would tell my children they had to be over 18. This is another series I would tell my children they need to be over 18. I Am a Hero. So that is this shelf. Okay, now on to the bottom shelves. We have most of the volumes of Hunter x Hunter. Oh, such a good series. Now, the only reason why I have not read the manga is because I'm missing volumes. Now, Hunter I actually wasn't planning on owning the manga just because I've watched the entire anime run, and also the series has been on hiatus for a while. I originally was planning on just picking up the later volumes, as the later volumes actually go past the actual anime, but because the series is on hiatus, I chose not to watch it. If I had asked me what is my most favorite series that is currently on hiatus, this would definitely be in my top 5. Really good series. Has to do with Gon here, who just has a dream someday to find his dad and becomes a hunter in the hopes of meeting and finding his father someday. It's very wholesome. There's a lot of action, entertainment. It's funny. The anime, 150 episodes, went by so quick. If you haven't watched the anime, I highly recommend it. Hunter x Hunter. Hopefully someday it goes off of hiatus and the series will be complete. But Highly recommend checking it out. And as soon as now I do get the other volumes, it's a series I would like to read. Hinamatsuri is a series that I have collected so far, but we'll chalk this up as another I have no excuse why I haven't started reading it, as I have all the volumes. Hinamatsuri was also on sale for Right Stuff Summer Sale last year, so I figured let's go and get the volumes, and I've been collecting them as they come out. But definitely it's a series I need to start reading. Have no excuse why I haven't read it. But I've heard nothing but good things. There's one reviewer, there's one manga channel that just praises it over and over again. So it's another series I need to read, and sadly, no excuse. So now we'll go to the bottom shelf here. First off, we have Love is War. This is a series I wanted to collect for such a long time. Heard nothing but good things. I started reading the first volume and I was like, yep, this is definitely a series I'm going to enjoy. It has some of the thinking, kind of like Death Note, where you're having great minds kind of battle of the wits. So you have a similar with that, except for you're not having someone who's trying to murder people. And now I actually was able to get the entire series on my last haul video. Click the eye on the top right hand corner and you can check out that haul video where I got the rest of the series. So I should start reading it since I now have the series. There's so many other series I'm trying to get caught up and finish. But this is definitely on my list to start reading soon. I have many volumes I'm missing majority of the volumes of Slam Dunk. The rumor is this series is supposed to be reprinted this year. We'll see what happens. I know some people who have been waiting over 2 years for certain volumes to be reprinted. I hear this is one of the best series ever. I'm not a big sports person, but because I've heard a lot of people chalk this up as their #1 series by the same person that made Vagabond, which is also a series a lot of people just absolutely love. So I hope one day to get the entire series. It would be one of those few series that if I had the entire series, I'd drop everything else I'm reading and I would read just Slam Dunk. Last is The Girl from the Other Side. Now, the reason why I picked up this manga, I just thought the covers looked very interesting and absolutely gorgeous. On the Reddit manga collectors, I saw that people were just saying rave reviews about this series, so I wanted to pick it up for myself. And the only reason why we haven't started reading this is we're missing some volumes. So as soon as I get volumes 4 and 5, it's another series I'd like to read all in one sitting. So The Girl from the Other Side, man, the artwork looks so good. Just the black versus the white. I'm ready to start reading the series. It's one I hope to pick up soon. So as soon as I get those volumes, it's another series I'd like to start reading really soon. Okay, so first off here we have Orange. Now I have the entire series. Such a good series. Highly recommend it. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite series I've read so far. And it's only 7 volumes, which is really quick. So here's Orange, Orange 2, and Orange Future. And a new volume just came out in Japan. So I really, really hope I will be able to continue the series and that they'll localize it and they'll bring that last volume to America. Orange deals with this girl here who ends up she starts receiving letters that are written to herself from the future. And the things that happen in letters end up actually happening to her. So she tries to see this as a warning, trying to change some of her fate, and hopes someday the letters are trying to tell her to save this person. So what's neat is you'll go a little bit into the story of seeing them as they grow up into the future, see them as they're going through high school, and then they're also trying to save their friend based from these past letters they've received. Really good, good high school drama series I could not put down. Highly recommend Orange. Now next I have here is Siren. We have volumes 6, 9, 12, 13, and 15. Why haven't we read this series yet? Well, it's not obvious enough. It's because we are Missing Volumes. This is a series I picked up last year after hearing a bunch of good reviews, but unfortunately, because there's missing volumes, I haven't started reading it yet. But there's only 16 volume series. It's another series I'm hopefully someday we'll be able to complete and get to read. So the next series here, Maggie. What can I say about Maggie? There is 37 volumes total, and the only reason why I have not started the series is because, like Banana Fish, Maggie is another series that I purchased last year in April. And since when I purchased the series in April, I got all volumes 1 through 37, but we were missing volume 2, missing volume 10, and volume 14. I've been actually pleasantly surprised that Viz has not reprinted those yet. So the only reason why I have not started this series is because I'm missing those volumes. As soon as I get those volumes, Maggie and Banana Fish and World Trigger are the top manga on my list I've been wanting to read. So I actually purchased Maggie the same time I got World Trigger, and I'm still shocked and surprised that these first couple volumes have not been reprinted yet. I'm really looking forward to reading the series soon. Next we have here is Blade of Immortal. This series is complete, and I actually have all the books for this. Now, Blade of Immortal also has a collector's edition. The reason why I did not purchase the collector's edition is that the series is still slowly being released, and I just thought this edition also was a lot cheaper, and I thought they did a good job with these omnibuses. I didn't feel necessarily need to pick up the collector's edition, even though the collector's edition does look very nice. This series I have not started reading, so we can chalk this up as another series I have no excuse why I haven't started reading it yet. Next off on my shelf, we have Fist of the North Star. Only reason why I haven't started the series is just because it's fairly new. I believe there's going to be 18 volumes of the hardcovers. This series inspired so many other series that are currently out, so it's definitely a series I need to pick up and start reading. I like to have at least the first 5 volumes of a series and start reading after then. I feel like 5 volumes is enough to get an idea whether or not it's a good enough series. Some people say go 3 volumes, but for me, I'm kind of a 5-volume person. I also do like how have the connection with the blood splatter here, so it's definitely a series I'd like to read soon. Next, series I have read completely is by the same person that made Happiness and Blood on the Tracks, and that is The Flowers of Evil. The Evil Indeed. This series is a bit of a mind trip. You will read this series really fast. I would say is definitely interesting. This boy ends up becoming obsessed and just has a connection with these 2 different girls, and they kind of see them go through high school, making some crazy decisions, and then you'll end up seeing them as they grow up as an adults and just continuing that story. Definitely not for kids, but it was definitely an interesting premise, and I have not read anything like it before. So that's volumes 1 through 4, omnibus complete of Flowers of the Evil. Okay, on this shelf we're going to the series that started it all, and that is My Hero Academia. Now, during the beginning of the pandemic, I got really sucked into the anime of My Hero Academia. And after watching completely the first 4 seasons, I knew it was a series I wanted for myself. So this is a series I first ordered, and after this got into the spiraling collection and rabbit hole that I'm in now for collecting manga. Now this is a series, it's funny too, as soon as I got the whole series, I ended up rereading the series, and I may have even shed a few tears, even though I knew certain moments were happening and going to happen again after watching the anime. But it's probably one of my favorite series. It has a special place in my heart. I love My Hero Academia. It has a lot of heart. The main character, Hazuki Midoriya, has a dream of someday becoming a hero himself, and you get to follow his journey as he learns how to develop his power as a superhero. Phenomenal series. Highly recommend checking it out. And then after that, we have My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So right now we have My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Now this is a spin-off series from My Hero Academia. It's actually supposed to be a prequel based off of this series. Now this series, I do appreciate it gives a little bit of backstory of some of the other characters. Like for an example, here's Eraserhead, one of the teachers in My Hero Academia. You get to see a little bit of his past beforehand, what he was like. It's okay. It's not the best series, but I still appreciate it for what it is. Now the series has a total, they just announced that the 14th volume is the last volume of the series, so I'm looking forward to wrapping up to see how it goes. But I will say you don't need to read this series to be able to understand My Hero Academia. Think of this as more just filler. It does have a couple neat things here and there, but I will say it's good. It's not great, it's not bad, it's good. Next I have Kaiju number 8, volumes 1 and 2. This is a new series that recently came out that I'm thoroughly enjoying. I've enjoyed the first 2 volumes. It's hilarious. It's this guy who's on the cleanup crew, and his job is to clean up after kaijus are defeated. He's on the ground crew that ends up cleaning up and removing the bodies from the city. And he's essentially sanitation. Very funny, a great series. I'm thoroughly enjoying this new series that's from the Shonen line. And here's volume 2. The reason why I'm showing this might sound a little silly, but I just love this color blue. I'm really blown away in how well they're making these covers for the series. It just looks absolutely breathtaking. Okay, next series I have volume 1 and 2 for Beyond Journey's End. Now the first 4 volumes are available. I have the first 2. I'm waiting for my partial shipment order to bring the next 2 volumes. I have thoroughly enjoyed this series so far. This is probably one of my favorite series that has come out within the last year. This is a series which is really interesting for Beyond Journey's End. This group of heroes, the story begins that they have won. They saved the day and they saved the world from the Demon King. And this is the idea of what happens next. And you follow this girl who's actually an elf and follows the journey 50 years later as these characters are slowly dying off. The world has forgotten some of their heroics and life has moved on, and it's now she's just trying to figure out what does life all mean? What is life about? She was on a 10-year journey with these characters, ends up realizing that it was a lot shorter. For them, it was a long time, and very good just about time, about making the best of the moments that you have. Discovery. I'm thoroughly enjoying what I've read for this series so far, and I'm looking forward to see what they have next. Okay, going down below here, we have the first 15 volumes of Black Butler. This is another series that we can mark that even though I have the first 15 volumes, I have not yet read. I have no excuse for why I haven't read it. There's over 30 volumes in the series. I don't want to get the other volumes until I've read at least the first 15 to see if this is a series I like. The only reason why I ended up picking up this series, other than the good reviews, was I was able to get it for very cheap. So I figured, why not? I think I paid around $3 to $4 a volume, so I figured for that price it didn't hurt. If I didn't like the series, I could give it away to someone who would. So that's Black Butler. I wish I could tell you more. I don't know a whole lot on this series, but I am looking forward to being able to eventually read it. Next here is in Japanese, it's Gun Battle Angel Alita. This is the deluxe edition. I absolutely love these hardcovers for this series. I ended up purchasing this series off of a sale. I have seen the movie, and I have read a little bit of the series, but I haven't finished reading all 5 volumes. I have no excuse for that. This is a phenomenal story. It has some mystery, sci-fi. It's a series I need to pick up. It's a series I need to read. No excuse for it whatsoever. So we can mark this as another series that I have no reason why I haven't started reading it yet. That's Alita Battle Cry Angel. And last we have here Master Edition. Now I have read this series. and I'll say it's interesting. You're really hooked for most of the story. What I love is it's actually written by an architect. So as you see here, definitely not necessarily meant for kids, but I'm blown away by the buildings, the drawings. They really did a phenomenal job with this series. I'm actually thoroughly impressed with the amount of detail and characterization there is for the story. So very, very interesting. It's gritty. It's a sci-fi adventure. You're following this character here as he's on his journey to try to find a human genome terminal. Very good series. Highly recommend it. It's a quick read. It's not very wordy, so I would slow down while you read it. But I thought it was really interesting. I'm very happy to know that I own and I've been able to read these master editions. So this comes last of my shelves for manga. Then we can go into the box sets. And continuing on to Alita, we have, as you saw in my last manga haul video, I just got Alita: The Last Order. This is continuing the series from Battlecry Alita. So this is a sequel to it. It's a series I'm looking forward to checking out and reading more once I finally finish Battlecry Alita. We have Battlecry Alita here. This is the sequel to Alita, Battlecry Angel. It's another series that I have not read yet. I recently got the series on my last haul video. Click the eye on the corner. You can see that haul video. I need to finish Battlecry Alita so that way I can read the sequel. After that, we have The Valley of the Wind. This is by Studio GB. It is 7 volumes. Sadly, another one of the series I have not read, and I actually have not seen the movie. My family, we are a Studio GB family. Some of my kids' favorite movies from there is Totoro, The Cat Returns, and this is another one that we've been wanting to read or wanting to see it, but I just haven't had the time. I don't have an excuse why we haven't read this yet. My kids love Studio GB. It's one I should be able to definitely check out. It's a series I have not read yet, and I haven't seen the movie. I purposely chose that I would watch the movie as soon as I read the series, but that has not happened yet. So we'll see when that happens. It's something I definitely want to check out and enjoy. It came with a nice poster, so no excuse. Definitely should have been unread already, but it has not. Okay. Continuing on, we have Monster, volumes 1 through 9. This is complete. This is by Nakura Asara, the same person that made the brilliant and one of my favorite 20th Century Boys and Pluto. I have not read this series. I felt I should take a little break after reading 20th Century Boys and Pluto. I have no excuse. We can mark this as another series I should have read, and I should have already read, but I haven't. My guess, I'm going to absolutely love it since I've been so grateful for his other works. So that's Monster. As the idea of this surgeon who saves someone's life and then somehow becomes a murder mystery. I purposely have chosen not to know very much about the story so that I can follow along and be in shock and surprise everyone else who read this for the first time. But Monster is one that I'm sure after I finish reading I'm going to highly recommend. So we have Dead Man Wonderland here. This is another series that I am still waiting for the volumes. I pre-ordered this entire series last year at the last week of April alongside Maggie and World Trigger. I still have not received all the volumes. Actually, when I pre-ordered this series from Right Stuff, every volume was out of stock, and these are the ones that have been reprinted so far, so I'm looking forward to when they finally reprint the series. It's another one that I could check out. So, next I have Case Studies of the Vantice. My wife, this is some of her absolutely favorite covers for any manga. That is a vampire story. It's a series that I just recently got the last 2 volumes I was missing, which is 5 and 6. So now, because I have these volumes, it's a series I would like to start reading. Unfortunately, I did read the other day that this series is now on hiatus with not an answer on when it will come back. So hopefully it's just a short hiatus. I believe there's 10 volumes currently available in Japan, and the first 8 are available in the US. So hopefully I can hopefully I'll be able to read this series soon. But man, those covers look absolutely gorgeous. And last, I have Eternal Sabbath. Now, if you've been following my videos, this is a series I broke my rule for the first time, which is to never purchase a series that is currently out of print. But I thought it might be kind of fun to try to see how hard is it to find a series and purchase a series that is out of print, yet still pay around retail price for each volume. So luckily in the first couple months, I've been able to find volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 of the series, and I'm just trying to hunt down the last 2 volumes. Once I find those last 2 volumes, this is a series I want to read right away. As I shared with some people on Reddit, some of my top series, this was one that was highly recommended, so I started hunting for the series. So looks very interesting, so I'm excited to pick this up. I know nothing about it behind the scenes other than this was highly recommended to me after I shared some of my favorite series I love to read. First box that we have is Claymore. We have all 27 volumes of this series. If you click the eye on the right hand corner, you can hear my first thoughts of the series. Now, I read the first volume, but I have not read the rest yet. This was from my manga haul 2 months ago, but phenomenal series. Looks super interesting. Reminds me a little bit of The Witcher in the beginning, where they're going out chasing monsters for coin. Even though I heard it definitely morphs into much more. I have the series is complete. It's one I am definitely looking forward to reading soon, but absolutely gorgeous series. Super interesting. I'm excited to check that out and read that soon. Okay, next up I have the Pandora box set. This is absolutely gorgeous. I have to be a little careful as this is super heavy. Now, this series was actually out of print for a long time, and Yen Press decided to re-release the collector's edition of this series actually on Thanksgiving Day. So Thanksgiving Day it was available again, the series. So I ended up picking it up right away. I have not read it yet. It's by the same person that made the Case of the Vantis. So Pandora box set limited edition, another series that no excuse why I haven't started reading yet, and I'm looking forward to eventually start opening and reading the series. Okay, so next we have Tokyo Ghoul. All 14 volumes of this series, and we also have Tokyo Ghoul box set. Now, both of these box sets I end up getting on a really good deal from Amazon at the beginning of last year. I have watched the anime and I thought it was okay. I was a little confused by it, and I heard that the manga does such a better job compared to the anime. It's the only reason why I haven't read it yet was because like when I was reading My Hero when I was watching the My Hero Academia movie, I also decided to check out for the first time Tokyo Ghoul. So after it's about a boy who ends up being he's a human, ends up turned to a ghoul who ends up desiring the flesh of eating other people in his life as he tries to now navigate what is it like being a ghoul. Really interesting, definitely not for kids, really graphic. Even the anime had a couple scenes where I felt a little queasy as I was going through it, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this work and check out to have a better understanding of the series after watching the manga. It's another series. I have no reason why I haven't checked it out yet or haven't read it yet. I figured since I watched the anime, I wanted to give it a little more time and read some of these other stories that don't have an anime adaptation, or ones that I wanted to continue from the anime and just to know more about. So because the series is complete on the anime, this is complete as well, so it's another series I'm looking forward to eventually be reading. So the only reason why we haven't read this series yet compared to some of the other series is I just got it. I heard it's a really good shoujo series, so I'm looking forward to reading it after I knock out some of the other series I have. But I love high school drama. I love seeing coming of age, so it's another series I'm excited to read once we are done. Okay, now the next box that I have is Bakuman here, and this is complete. This is actually written by the same duo that did Death Note. I heard the anime is really good. I haven't seen it, but this story is all about the grind and what it takes to be a manga creator. So I'm really interested in what that takes to be a manga creator. I have a really good story idea that I'd love to write a book someday about, and thought, sometimes I think in my mind, what would it look like if it was a manga? So really interesting to see kind of more behind the scenes of what it takes to actually become a manga artist. So it's definitely, as you see here, it says, is becoming a successful manga artist an achievable dream or just one big gamble? The mystery behind manga making is revealed. So I was excited by that premise. It was a super good deal. I think I paid around $5 a book, so it was definitely one I wanted to check out. So that is Bakuman, and man, I just think it's a bit wordy, so that might be one thing to be careful of if you're not a fan of wordy books. But this is the complete box set. Looks really interesting. I'm excited to someday read it. Okay, now we have here is one series that probably needs no introduction whatsoever, but this is Full Metal Alchemist Complete. Now, there are some really nice hardcover editions of Full Metal, but I got this on a really good sale, and I thought I'd be happy enough with the single volumes, even though, man, those hardcovers look really nice. It'd probably look really good on a shelf, but I'm happy with this 27 volumes. I have not read the manga yet, but I have watched the anime. I've seen Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, as well as Brotherhood, which actually follows alongside the manga itself. It's one of the it's one of the best manga it's one of the best animes I've ever seen. So I just have not read this series yet as a manga, just because it's still vivid in my mind, the whole series as a whole from the anime. But these are the Eldrick brothers, who are he ends up learning alchemy, and then through that ends up going on trying to save his brother. Really, really interesting series. If you have not read this, if you're looking for a manga to start, this is probably the one I'd highly recommend. If you're looking for an anime and you haven't seen much anime, I'd highly recommend checking out Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I wouldn't watch the other one, but Brotherhood is some of the best anime I've seen. I mean, that just, yeah, looks so cool. I'm really excited they ended up reprinting the series. Okay, so next are my box sets of Naruto, and this is complete. First we have volumes 1 through 27. Now, Naruto is one of the animes that, what's funny is I've seen every episode that's not filler, except for some reason I couldn't get myself to watch the last 10 episodes. So I know the whole story up to the last 10 episodes. Someone locally was selling all 3 box sets super cheap, so I quickly snatched that up. I have no reason I haven't read the manga yet, except for because I watched the anime, and man, there was a lot of episodes. So I'm excited for the chance of eventually being able to go back down memory lane. So this is Naruto, the second box set. The only reason why I haven't read this was I wanted to read some other manga where I was not familiar with the story. I've seen most of the anime as a story I was familiar with, but man, this was such a good series. Some of the best storytelling I've ever seen or read, and it was through Naruto. You're just completely sucked in. I love where they go through multiple generations. Here we go. As you can see, man, that just, oh, the artwork just looks so cool. So there's another series that I'm excited to finally finish, that I'd love to be able to see how it ends, but it's a really, really good series. I love the anime, so I definitely, eventually when I go back down memory lane, I'll definitely need to read this and actually finish and find out what happened on the last 10 episodes. I'd love to see that through the manga itself. So this is my entire box sets of Naruto. This is the reason why there's so much manga I did not read last year, was because I read One Piece for the very first time. I'd never watched the anime before. I ended up one night I couldn't sleep, and I ended up watching the first 4 episodes of the anime, and as soon as I saw it, I absolutely knew, yep, this was a series I wanted to check out. So I ended up purchasing the first box set here, read all 23 volumes, and man, thoroughly enjoyed the series. It's so good. Luffy has a dream someday of being the king of the pirates. You're searching for the One Piece treasure. It's about friendship, it's about adventure, and it's a series that I'm actually reading alongside with my daughter, who's almost 11. She thoroughly enjoys it too. And then my son, who's 9, who's learning Japanese, he has watched the anime in Japanese as he's trying to also learn the language. So it's one that my family absolutely loves. A phenomenal series. It's probably one of my favorite series of all time. So I end up reading box set 1. Next, I acquired and I read box set 2. Skypedia, this arc was, it's okay. It wasn't my favorite of the bunch, but man, Water 7. This is a phenomenal story in One Piece. Probably one of my favorite arcs I've read so far of the series. So another reason why I end up not reading as much last year is I also read all of this box set for box set 3 of One Piece alongside with my daughter. And also read all the volumes for One Piece box set 3. And this goes all the way through volume 70 of the series. These arcs for this series I didn't feel was as good as Water 7, but still extremely good. I thoroughly enjoyed the series. It felt a little like the pace needed to be picked up going towards the end volumes, but everything else I thoroughly enjoyed. A phenomenal story. I am blown away by Oda Sensei and how he continues after 20 years. He can still create such a phenomenal story, and it's still going strong. So that's One Piece, the third box that I read. And then what I have not read yet, but I own, is I end up receiving the 4th box set. Only reason why I haven't started this yet is I wanted a little break from One Piece, but this takes volume 71 all the way through 90. I need to just start reading the series. My daughter is asking me almost every day when I'm going to start reading the series, so that way she can start reading. How I do with my kids is I need to read the volume first, and if I feel okay with it, I'll allow them to read it. And if there's anything I need to clarify or need to talk with them about, if there's something that felt wasn't age appropriate, we would talk about that, or I'd say, hey, you know what, it's actually, you're going to need to skip this volume. And there is some series where my daughter is able to read majority of the volumes except for 1 or 2 volumes. I said, you got to skip this one until you get a little older. So One Piece is a series I'm looking forward to starting again. I'm also, not only do I have a full-time job, I'm school full-time, so one of my summer treats is this summer I'd like to end up reading this box set and be caught up to 90. And even though There are the single volumes available. Because I have the 4 box sets, I feel like it would be better to wait until a 5th box set comes out instead of starting to collect the volumes, the single volumes of the series. But man, I absolutely love the series. This is a phenomenal series. One Piece, probably the greatest series of all time. So we are wrapping up to the last. This is the last thing I have in my entire series of over 1,100 volumes of manga, and that is the Akira 35th Anniversary Edition. Now, I have read this entire series, and man, this is the edition for the collector in your life. This is just phenomenal. Let's see if we can do this without spilling anything. These are straight up hardcover, super nice quality. I ended up getting this as a gift. Someone gave me a gift card on Amazon. Amazon had it on sale, so it's a series I wanted to pick up. It's super heavy, the back set, but I've actually have never seen the movie. So I skipped the movie, and the only premise I had for Akira was this. It's definitely not for kids. Think of it similar to like a Radar movie, but what a thrilling ride. It was one of the first manga I read, besides My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer. Next I read was Akira last year, and this is the entire series. They put it in these 6 volumes here. This is probably a series that definitely paved the way for other and existing manga. Super phenomenal, nice box set. Phew! That was a lot of manga to go through. If you have made it through this far of the video, congratulations. Thank you so much. It means so much that you chose to watch the entire video to the end to see my manga collection. Hopefully you found a few titles that you did not hear before that you'll check out for yourself. If you'd like to see more content like this and you've not done so already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.